to announce that Ray Didinger is back with us for another season here on WIP. Typically, it'll be Mondays at 7:55 when the Eagles play a game on a Sunday, but Ray gracious enough to move to this Friday morning. Ray, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Joe. How are you?
I'm good, Ray. I mean, that's not how, as they say, you draw it up. But to use an NCAA tournament term, survive and advance, which is what the Eagles did last night. What stood out to you the most last night, Ray?
Oh, how it started. I mean, all the stuff that you talk about, the things that befall defending champions that following year, all the things that can go wrong. It started on the opening kickoff. You know, you lose a player and then you lose your best defensive player before you ever have a defensive snap. That's the start of your season. Yeah, I mean, what it reminded me of, and I haven't heard your whole show, so somebody probably has already brought this up.
Yep.
But it reminded me of the way it started for the Eagles the year after the Andy Reid Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
That opening game in Atlanta, when half an hour before kickoff, there was a fight on the field, and Jeremiah Trotter, who was your defensive leader, gets thrown out of the game before there was even the national anthem is played. But the difference is, and it had the same kind of feeling to me, just that kind of otherworldly, oh my God, is it really going to be that kind of year? And the difference is, and that's encouraging if you're an Eagles fan this morning, is the Eagles lost that game.
That's right.
The Eagles lost that game in Atlanta, and it was the start of what proved to be a 6-10 year where they didn't even make the playoffs. Last night, as badly as that thing started, they were able to regroup and come back and win the game. Now, they'll have to play better than that, but the first thing that I thought of was it was exactly like the first game back
for sure.
after the Andy Reid Super Bowl.
So, Ray, we want to get to all the football played, but let's get to the Carter situation a little deeper here. Couple questions. I'm going to tie them all into one. Do you think he should get suspended? Do you think he will get suspended? Do you think when it happened, meaning 5 seconds into the game, helps him not get suspended? Does Dak Prescott with a spit that went toward him but didn't hit him help him not get suspended? Break it all down for us.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I may be proven wrong on this. I mean, what he did was, well, beyond stupid. I mean, it's really just, there's no way you can kind of forgive it. There's no way you can justify it. It was just 20 degrees of dumb, and he can't be doing stuff like that. Is there a possibility he could be suspended? I think that possibility exists because the league is, and they talked about it on the broadcast a couple times last night, that there's one of these big sort of priorities this season that they talked about in the off season, and it's going to impact the way officials call games, is this respect for your opponent kind of thing. This is like kind of a mandate, a message, a memo that came down from the league office. And every year the league has a couple of these things that they're going to try and enforce, and they do it early in the season to try and send a message. And so that's one of them this year. And in light of that, maybe they really do come down on them like a ton of bricks. I personally, I'm sure it's on the table right now as the league's discussing it because it's the first game, the whole world sees it. And it's a chance for the league to send a message in something that they want to send a message about. But my feeling is I think he's just going to get a massive fine. But I don't expect him to be suspended. I think there'll be a huge fine that's going to come, but I don't expect it to be a suspension. I may be proven wrong. And of course, there's probably going to be voices on Park Avenue now that are going to be calling for him to be suspended. But I think that he'll come with a stern warning and a big fine. But I don't think it's going to be beyond that.
Well, this is a big possible fiasco situation. Ray, I was concerned. I think we were probably all concerned about another possible fiasco situation last night when A.J. Brown hadn't had a reception and we were getting to the second half. And I was just wondering, oh, man, is this going to become a problem? What did Dallas do that made it hard for us to get the ball AJ's way?
It's hard. I want to go back and watch the tape today and get a better look at that because there really has to be some kind of an explanation. I mean, there's no way that you get that deep into the game where you're into your last possession before he even gets a target. Okay, so something was there. I think that part of it was that the Dallas team was getting pretty good pressure on Jalen Hurts. Not a ton of sacks, obviously, but there was a lot of pressure that was making him move and get out of the pocket and break down the timing of what's designed in the passing game. And those are the kind of routes that generally the ball goes to A.J. on those kind of routes, or those kind of timing routes. And the Dallas defense, I thought, did a really good job of disrupting the timing of those routes. So I think that explains part of it, but it doesn't explain all of it. And, over the course of 17 games, you're going to have to make him a bigger part of the offense than it was last night. I mean, you got out of that one with a really tough, hard-fought win. Good for you. But moving forward, when the coaches sit down today and start reevaluating everything that was good, and in the two columns, what was good, what was bad. I mean, one of the things that's going to be up the top, Jalen Carter is probably going to be number one.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
The other one on the offensive side is, look, we got to find a way to get the ball to number 11 because he's too good not to. I want to just mention to you this thing before we move off the Carter thing. It reminded me of something that happened long, long ago, and I've been around this game long enough that I have a pretty long memory on these things. But I think Jalen Carter is just a tremendous talent. I mean, a great talent with a chance to be an absolutely great player. I mean, really, like an all-time player. He has that kind of ability. In a lot of ways, he reminds me of a guy named Mean Joe Green, who played for the Steelers back in the. I think he is that level of player in terms of his talent. I think he could be that good. But Joe Green, early in his career, was not a smart player, and he let his temper and he let his frustration, because the Steelers were a bad team. That was the difference. The Steelers were really bad then, but he let his frustration get the better of him. He had a game where he spit in the face of Fran Tarkenton. I mean, like, really just spit right in the face.
This is good knowledge, Ray, because I don't know this, and I'm sure most young people don't know it. All right, so keep going. This is fascinating.
He spit on Fran Tarkenton, got thrown out of a game. He spit on Dick Butkus and got thrown out of a game on an incident on the sidelines. In a game in Philadelphia where he was being held on every play, he was begging the officials, throw a flag, I'm being held. They didn't throw a flag. In the middle of the game, he picked the ball up off the ground and threw it into the upper deck of Franklin Field.
Wow.
Got thrown out of the game.
Wow.
The next day, and now Joe told me this story. I did a book on the Steelers back in the 70s, and I spent a lot of time with Joe Green. And Joe told me, he said, the turning point in my career was the day after the episode in Philadelphia, when I literally, in the middle of the game, picked the ball up and out of frustration, threw it into the upper deck of Franklin Field. Got ejected again. The next day, Chuck Noll, the coach, called me into the office. And he said, Joe, he said, with your talent, you're the leader on this team. I don't care if you want to be. I don't care if you care to be. I don't care if you aspire to be. I don't know if captaincy means a damn thing to you. But the fact of the matter is, with your level of talent, you're a leader on this team because the players look to their best player, and that's you. Now, you have to decide, moving forward, are you going to be a good leader or are you going to be a stupid and bad leader? That's the only decision, because the idea of I don't want to be a leader, you have no choice on that. You're so good that every guy on this team is going to look to you and they're going to follow you. And right now you're taking this team down the wrong path. It's up to you to decide. But you could go on and become an all-time great. But just being talented isn't enough. You have to have the maturity to go with it. And Joe said that was the turning point in his career.
Wow.
And at that point, he dedicated himself. You know what? Yeah, just being really, really good on that isn't enough. I have to play smart, and I have to play smart every week. And at that point, he became the guy we knew as Mean Joe Green, and he wound up being the cornerstone of a team that won 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah, maybe one of the best defenders of the 70s. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, Joe, to this day, he's the best defensive tackle I've ever seen. I've never seen an interior, and I've seen them all. I've seen Alan Page, I've seen Bob Lilly, I've seen all of them. I've never seen a defensive tackle that could dominate a game the way he could. That's how good he was. I'm telling you, I think Jalen Carter has the talent to be that good, but he has to have the maturity to go with it, and last night was a classic example of why he needs to grow up.
Ray, why wasn't Quinyon Mitchell on CeeDee Lamb last night?
Should have been, and it should have been apparent really early. I thought
one of the was.
Okay, right away, and that's and that is a big concern. CD is a different kind of player in the sense that he doesn't line up outside; he plays in the slot, which sometimes makes him a tougher matchup. Sometimes you don't want to take your best defender and put him on a slot defender, especially when you have a guy like Pickens on the other side. But I think that's you have to take it from week to week and how offenses approach you. And CD's just that good, even though his drops in the fourth quarter were huge. That's a matchup problem. But listen, that could be a matchup problem moving forward. To me, this is the biggest concern about this team right now is that other cornerback spot. They got to figure that out. They got to figure that out before the next game, because the next game they're going to be facing Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you Patrick Mahomes is going to be watching the tape after he gets back from Brazil, after he survives the 10-hour flight back from Brazil, and he gets to watch the tape of this game. The first thing he's going to zero in on is Adoree Jackson, and they're going to draw up their offensive game plan around attacking him. And that's something we talked about that a lot in the off season and all through training camp is finding who's the other cornerback. Well, we're 1 week in and they're still looking.
Well, Ray, I'll tell you this because I agree with you entirely. I mean, Jalen Carter to me was the biggest negative within last night's game for the game. The other cornerback spot was the biggest negative for the season. And
sure.
I hear you. They got to figure it out. I don't know what they can do. I mean, other than making a trade. I mean, sometimes you just don't have the horses, and they may not have a horse there.
Yeah, I know. I think it's going to be Bennett eventually, and maybe not even like eventually, maybe like sooner than that. Although he got a big interference penalty too, but I think it's going to be
the way that they played him. Ray, I was surprised at how little they played Jacorian Bennett last night. I agreed. I thought he would be more of a factor. But the numbers were stunningly low. He had 7 snaps defensively. That's 11% of the defensive plays.
Yeah, and a big flag. And maybe he arrived late. Maybe he's still figuring things out. I mean,
sure.
Vic Fangio is an old school, really old school kind of coach, and he doesn't want to take chances with guys until he really feels like they have totally absorbed the system. I mean, look how long it took for him to get Cooper on the field last year. I mean, and once he got on the field, he changed the whole course of the season. But Vic wants to make sure that guys really understand everything that's going to be asked of them before he puts them on the field. I think that's probably where you are with Bennett right now. But I think in a couple more weeks, if things kind of are where they are right now, there's going to be a change. I mean, they can't. If that's what he's going to give you week in and week out, then he's going to wind up losing games for you. So they're going to have to find that. They're going to have to find that answer. And I think they've determined now it's not Ringo, or it's not going to be this year. So I think
definitely not.
At some point, Bennett's going to get his shot at the job.
All right, Ray, great stuff as always. I said it to start, but let me say it directly to you. We're thrilled to have you back with us for another season. To everyone listening, it's typically going to be 7:55 on Mondays, and Ray, we just love you, and I mean that literally.
Well, thrilled to be back with you guys, and just remind people about Spinner. It's coming to the Delaware Theater Company in September 17th. I'm rolling out my new play, and this one's about ice hockey. It's not football again. This one's about ice hockey, but I think if they come out, I think they'll enjoy it. We have a great cast, and we're really looking forward to get going.
I hope your version of ice hockey has fighting, unlike the current version of ice hockey, right?
There's a lot of that. It's set in the 70s.
Good.
It's set in the slapshot era. So yeah, there's a lot of that.
Awesome, Ray. We'll be checking it out. Thanks, Ray. Stay well. We'll talk to you sometime soon. Thanks, Ray.
All right. Take care, guys.
Right,
See you. Bye-bye.
Take care.